the Republican Party playing games with America. We are facing the threat of a shutdown yet again, and this is a manufactured crisis because the Republican Party is refusing to increase the debt limit. Now, to be sure, the debt limit is connected to all of the spending that has occurred already. And if you think about the spending that has occurred already, you cannot have this conversation without talking about Donald Trump's 2017 tax cuts for the rich. That's why we have to increase the debt ceiling in the first place. And this is the game. This is the kabuki theater that I was talking about. Here are Republicans yet again, knowing full well that they are going to have to fund this government. They're playing a game, threatening another shutdown, and we go through this every so many years. Let's take a listen to this clip of Senate Minority Leader Mitch McConnell as he explains why he feels that we should not increase the debt limit, even though it is a standard normal course of procedures for our government. Let's take a look.
Republicans have cautioned them for 2 months now that we will not help them implement this reckless $6 trillion spending plan by raising the debt ceiling. It's time that they took it seriously, that they funded the government to keep it open past next week, and that they avoid any kind of default on our debt next month.
Well, we'll be watching what Senator McConnell proposes.
For more than 2 months now, Senate Republicans have been completely clear about how this process will play out. So let me make it abundantly clear one more time. We will support a clean continuing resolution that will prevent a government shutdown, get disaster relief to Louisiana, help properly vetted Afghan refugees who put themselves on the line for America, and support the Iron Dome assistance for our ally, Israel. We will not provide Republican votes for raising the debt limit.
And so there he's trying to position himself. The first voice we heard was Senator Tom Cotton, and the second voice was that of Mitch McConnell. Mitch McConnell is trying to position himself as reasonable, saying we'll do this, we will do X, we will do Y, we will do Z, but we can't do any of those things if the government shuts down. And therein lies the game that they play every so many years. And when they talk about the debt ceiling, we have to tie it. It is inextricably linked to the 2017 tax cuts of Donald Trump, because we would not be dealing with this exacerbated debt if not for those tax breaks.
This is what I want to know. So researchers at Brown University say that we spent nearly $6 trillion during the war in Afghanistan.
That's right.
So if we can find $6 trillion to just throw away at war, a war that many would say we didn't even win, why is it that we're sitting here trying to act like we can't find the money, we don't have the money? Why are we sitting here acting like we have to shut down our government? The money is there. And if it's not there, the decision to continue to go into debt, I would prioritize going into debt to ensure the quality of life for Americans all across this country versus a $6 trillion bill for a war in Afghanistan. We didn't even understand why we were there for 20 years. So if we can find $6 trillion, if we can justify going into debt, even if that was $6 trillion that we didn't necessarily have, but that maybe drove us further into debt. If we can prioritize and justify that, why are we sitting here basically playing Russian roulette with the lives of American citizens? It's not fair. Yeah. And I think that what we have seen over the last 2 decades, and Trump playing a huge role in this, is that we have administrations who continue to fail at making good priority lists. The American people and our quality of life should be at the top of that list.
One of the things that Speaker Pelosi, I've heard her say that Speaker Nancy Pelosi said that I actually agree with. She says, show me your budget, you show me your values and your priorities. And you asked the fundamental question, Georgia, how is it that we have trillions for war? But not only do we not have enough money to feed the poor, ostensibly, we don't have enough money to run our government. So I would ask the audience this question: what good is this government especially under the control of people like Mitch McConnell, bad faith actors in general. What good is that government if it can't even support itself? Why are they ruling over us and they don't even have their own house in order?
Yeah, for a second there, I thought you were reciting some Tupac lyrics. Got money for war, but can't feed the poor.
Feed the poor.
I digress, but definitely a Tupac fan. And even then, and that was in the 90s. This was still a fundamental issue that we are a country that will prioritize going into other countries overseas where we have no jurisdiction, no authority, and calling ourselves, getting their house in order. Yet and still, we have people who are living in tents all across America. Right. We have bridges that are collapsing. We have children who do not have adequate education because of the infrastructure within their school. There are still kids in rural America who don't have access to the internet. So how do we justify spending $6 trillion at war? And I'm sure that wasn't just paid out in cash. I'm sure some of that was collected in debt. So how do we justify that? Yet and still, we are not living the American dream here in America. Many of us.
That's right. And as you go down the list, I'm thinking of Flint, Michigan, still dealing with lead pipes. Right. There's all parts of this empire that's crumbling from within. And we have leaders, politicians, senators who are drunk with folly and their bigotry, playing games with the future of this country. See, Georgia, I can understand the games that they play with our lives because they've been playing with our lives since they stole us and brought us here. Right. But they don't even value the life of their own empire. And so we'll discuss that and a whole lot more before I go off on a tangent, because it really represents to me the full abdication of their responsibility as the government if they can't even function. And this is a game that's being forced on us. It's an unnecessary game. It is a kabuki theater. We increase the debt limit on a regular basis. And Mitch McConnell knows that, but he needs something to throw to his constituents, his bad faith actors that are supporting it.
Well, and I'll add this before wrapping. I think this is why you see so many people who have started to invest in alternative economies. You have people who are looking at Bitcoin and, all of these new ways to invest or to monetize money, really, and so these different economies, I think for the people who want to prioritize the people, these things are going to become more and more prominent in the future. I think that if the administration, if our current government structure cannot restore trust within the American people, you are going to see more and more people divesting in our current economy and looking at alternative ways or even community aid. Because one thing I'll say that we saw here in Minneapolis after the civil unrest is the community realized we have everything that we need. We can take care of each other if we come together and we work together. And so while a lot of people are going to the government for, quote unquote, a handout, it won't be needed when people start putting that faith and that trust and giving that authority within the communities that they live in.